Welcome to the Racket, silencing the noise in your business. I'm Pam Foley.
And I'm Paige Wiese.
Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us. Hey Paige, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. We're going to talk about Instagram today, so let's get started with the show. So every episode we start talking about our day, right? And how we've
What's been
been
new?
doing.
Since we check in once a month with each other, we really like to kind of just catch up too. I mean, we talk throughout the month, but sometimes life gets busy, and I think that's what you and I have both hit coming into August and where we're at right now. Kids going back to school.
Yes, and my daughter went to college. I know a lot of you read the very touching thing that I wrote on Facebook, but I was sad. So thanks for watching. Yeah, it has been a crazy busy summer, and I can't believe we're talking about almost September because
cruising through
too fast. But now it's gonna be fall. So it's not that it is fall, but it definitely feels like
It's
fall.
starting to feel like fall. I'm like torn between putting on my sweater or going with my sleeveless, so you know that fall's around the corner.
Yes, fall is coming right around the corner. So that's why we are excited about getting back into it. We have 8 episodes filmed, and
they're out now. Yeah, we got them live. We got them launched on theracketshow.com. We've also got it on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. All the ones. We've been working on that. That was what I spent a little while in the last month or so, was really just getting everything put together, learning how this podcasting thing works. So that's been fun, but definitely takes time. I know between our time recording and our time putting all the episodes together, it's not easy.
It is not easy. So, great. And let's talk about our life hack, because we haven't had a life hack all summer long. I mean, sometimes we have a word of the day, and we have Instagram today, so I really think we should be talking about maybe influencers or hashtags. There are a lot of words of the day
when it comes to Instagram. I think it started as just a little platform to post one photo, not galleries. Remember, Instagram when it first started was a photo with some filters and dozens of hashtags. And now it has evolved to so many things in a business tool nonetheless.
And with billions of dollars in business. So I'm super excited to talk about it, but we're going to do a life hack today. And the life hack that I like to use is Calendly.
Okay.
So it really doesn't have anything to do with Instagram, but it's life-changing for business and for just busy professionals. I'm scooting around in my chair. But because I can have people schedule on my calendar. They do it through my social media. They do it through my email signature, and they can pay on my calendar. They can, I have 9 different sections where they can schedule different times for different clients, and it really has been life-changing to use. What do you use? Do you have a scheduler?
I do not use a scheduler. I've gone back and forth on that a lot. Mainly, I think for me, more on the personal side. I know we really strive to make sure that everything's working with the client, that we're accommodating to them. And also, I've been really mindful of my schedule as I've grown. For me, it's very important that I'm not driving all across town. And as I continue to grow,
We've all done that.
I've done it a lot. I've put my fair share of miles in, that's for sure. But as we continue to grow, I also have the team that I'm managing. And while I don't need to watch them and monitor them all the time, as we're learning or going through a new task or doing something, it's really helpful to make sure that if I'm like in meetings all day long, that in between I can pop in with them real quick and just go, hey, is everything good? Did any emails come through that are really important? Anything with, like client facing, what do we need to handle? And so for me, I still, I still have my assistant really making sure when is this? When is it working? Is it a phone call? How much time are we scheduling? But so no, I haven't used Calendly. However, I recommend that type of system to a lot of our clients. I think that it's really important to get that immediate booking scheduled. And I think it depends on what it is. If I'm booking a dentist appointment, yes, let's just get it booked. This is when it works on my schedule. I don't want to play that bouncing around dancing game of, well, does this time work? Does that time work?
That's the worst. It takes so much time, and it's just not a good use of anybody's brain power.
So I think it's good, and clients like to see that instant gratification of, hey, this is booked, it's ready to go. I know it's confirmed, instead of maybe waiting for a contact form. But I think that how you're using it is fantastic. I do think that it's good. It's just not how I've gone with my business model, but trust me, I've thought about it. I've tried. I'm like, should we not? So
she's gonna start using it because it's life changing for me.
So it's great to see that you're using it, and I highly recommend it to a lot of our clients when we're talking about online booking. I know we've had clients too that they were like, hey, we're not really getting people converting, and I've said, throw on, online booking, and boom, they're like, oh my gosh, like we're getting more clients every day now, or like patients in the door.
It's crazy. Yes. So how quickly it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, so it works. So I definitely would recommend it too. I think Calendly is a really good one. I see
Acuity.
Calendly is the one I see in most people's signature blocks. So again, throw the links in your signature block so people can do it. Send it specifically to them in emails. Put it on Facebook. There's a schedule appointment links in your profiles. So maximizing that link the best you can.
Yes. Oh, and before we get to Instagram, bonus for Leslie. Thanks for watching, Leslie. Because bonus life hack that somebody told me yesterday that in your signature, in your email signature, you can put a 30 to 60 second video that introduces yourself so that it says meet Pam or meet Paige, and apparently it's grown people's business like crazy. And I would have never thought of that. I don't have a signature video.
I've seen a few, but it's what's attached to this? Oh, there's a video. This would be cool. What is it? It kind of leaves them a little like.
I think it makes you different and unique, and that's one of the things that we're always looking for.
Personal, know, like, and trust. They start to build a relationship with
personal brand. We've been talking about personal brand.
We sure have.
We have. So let's turn and talk about our main topic today, which is Instagram. So Instagram is a multi-billion-dollar platform at this point, and you're right. It started with just a few hashtags and people posting pictures of what they had for dinner.
People don't really know what hashtags were when Instagram came out either. Remember?
No, maybe they don't still. We should talk about that.
We will.
Yes. And you might notice that we hesitate a little bit, and when we're talking, if you're listening to this podcast, but we're also doing a Facebook Live for at least part of it, and we wanted to do both because it's kind of fun and different.
I know I'm pushing my boundary with the videos, and Pam, though, she does videos all the time. So I was, even though we were trying to get Facebook Live going, I'm like, is it live yet? What are we doing?
I know.
She's teaching me some things too today on the Facebook
It's true.
Live part.
It's a little close. I should have worn more makeup. But anyways, Instagram, right? So Instagram is something that businesses are using, and personal people are still using it, and it's not just for teenagers anymore. And I think it really started out that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they were communicating it. Now we're there, so they're out.
You could put the buttons on that your parents wouldn't see because the parents are starting to get on Facebook. So all the kids started migrating over to the Instagram platform, and that's really how it started growing.
It's true. So now it's time for us to take over Instagram and build our businesses, and I guess Snapchat will be next. So
there's Snapchat for marketing as well.
There it is. That's a whole nother episode. Yeah, join us next time when we're doing that one. But Instagram. So I use Instagram in my business much more than I use it in my personal life. But do you use? So again, Paige runs a digital marketing company called Tree Ring Digital. And do you guys use Instagram at all?
For our business, the way I've been using it most recently has been for showcasing our portfolio. So it's easy for us to put that stuff on our website, but at the same time, when we're going through so many different projects, it's really hard to stay up to date. Or maybe on our website, we want to showcase some of the best stuff we've done, or the diversity of work that we do. And so I don't put as much on the website. However, that's where we use Instagram then, is as soon as we wrap up projects, we start dumping it. So it's really easy then for me to go, hey client, if you want to see more of our portfolio or types of work we do, or maybe they didn't realize we did logo design. So it's really easy for them to be looking at our portfolio for our website work, but then see, oh, I didn't know they did this, that, and the other. So that's how we've been using it. We were talking right before we got started with this episode that the goal is to try and start talking more about the story and the brand behind Tree Ring, the whole team that it takes to make this happen. And so it really starting to showcase the creative work that the whole team is doing, as opposed to, or hey, we're going out and we are having fun. We do know how to let loose, and it's not all business all the time. We do have fun.
Mean. But such a mean boss. But yes, because really it's all about telling your story, right? So it's telling your story. Or I have a dog that has an Instagram page, and if you guys watch this and you see go to my doodle named Daisy on Instagram because she has 3,300 followers without even trying. And it's because people like to see the story of Daisy the puppy, the golden doodle puppy. And I bet people want to see the story of Tree Ring Digital.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And know who they're talking to, you know, like, hey, we do a lot of work through emails and phone calls a lot.
Do you?
As opposed to, yeah, like the team doesn't always meet in person with the clients.
Oh, right.
Some of it we got, you know, nationwide clients.
It's a digital
so that's
agency.
harder. If we're digital, it's easier for us just to like, great, we understand what the changes you want, let's make them and keep moving and get that fast turnaround the clients are looking for. But I definitely know that, had somebody I know who they're talking to. Who's
Right.
Who is
And they want to
Heather,
know
who
more
is,
about
you know,
you.
this person, and so that's why we want to build that up more on a social side.
And I really think that telling the story, it can, even if you're just putting quotes or you're putting just pictures, right? Pictures of even what you had for dinner. It's going to tell a lot about who you are. So if you're developing a business brand or even your personal brand and you want people to either buy from you or promote you or just know who you are, then it's a great way to show people, and everybody's looking. There are over, I think it's close to 1 billion people on Instagram. It's big.
I know
Yeah.
too, with Instagram, it's a really good platform for businesses because with Facebook, you have to go out and get in front of every person you want to get in front of. With Instagram, by utilizing the hashtags, you can finally get in front of the people that are looking for and are interested in your product, service, whatever it is you're doing. The reason you're getting so many followers is exactly what you mentioned. Not that they know who your dog is. It's not like you walk around the block and hand out cards, you know, business cards with
Daisy
your
does
dog's
not
name
have
on
cards.
it. But instead, they think the dog is really cute. They like the things that you're doing. And so, but because you're using the right hashtags, which we'll talk about in just a second, you're finally getting in front of people that like dogs, like the golden doodles, right? Golden doodle?
And they're in my world. So Seth Godin, yes. Seth Godin, who is a big marketing guru, and he's got lots of books out there like This Is Marketing and I think it's just The Tribe. Find Your Tribe? Okay, sorry, Mr. Godin. But he really is a guru, and there are many things out there that you should check out that he's written. But one of the things he says that I've always thought was brilliant is when you're thinking of your brand for your business or for your person, think of people like us do things like this. So when we're talking about the Instagram, where I have the golden doodle that has 3,300 followers, which in the Instagram world is not a ton, but we got it in less than a week without super trying, and my hair's bothering me today. And so people like us do things like this. People like us who like golden doodles like to watch golden doodles and what they do and how they grow and where they walk and the goofy things that they do. So they're following because they see something that attracts them because it's like them. And that's the same thing that's true, right? Mm-hmm. When people see the story of Tree Ring, they're gonna know that you guys do the same kind of fun things. You go to coffee, or you go to a glass of wine, or you go mini golfing.
Right.
Or all at the same time.
We did Extreme Room. I know we're looking to do axe throwing soon. So like showcasing those things of like, hey, we're having fun, but it, you know, it helps too. It's the team bonding piece that when most of our team is remote, to be able to get everybody together and still build that connection. But let's talk real quick. I think that let's use the golden doodle example.
Yeah, let's.
Let's talk first about what is the hashtags and how you've been using them to gain that many followers that quickly? Because I know down the road we'll talk a little bit more about how do you gain followers, but I think you've nailed a bit of it right there with the hashtag side. So why don't you tell us a little about that?
We really have. So taking the golden doodle, and again, it's my doodle named Daisy, so don't forget, because she's always looking for more people. But so hashtags really are a key word. It's identifying that group that people like you do things like this, right? So the hashtag is identifying that. Is it golden doodle? Is it doodles of Instagram? Is it big blonde dogs, right? Is it digital marketing or websites or, you know, building a brand? And it really is narrowing down exactly what you do or the people that you want to attract. So in our case, I say our because, you know, it's my daughter who's 17, it's me, and it's Daisy the Doodle. who will be 9 months Friday. So she's a
growing
70-pound, 9-month dog. But so hashtags are really about finding your people and finding your topic. So in this case, we do, and I know I've said this, but we do doodles of Instagram, and we do golden doodle, and doodle lovers, and dog lovers, and walking the dog, and ones like that. And really, we have about 20 hashtags that we use consistently every single time, because the truth is that the people like us that do the things that we do, they don't change, right? We can add a couple on the bottom because it's, in a sunflower field, or Daisy jumping in a pool,
with
so
the
it's in the
sunset,
pool.
whatever it might be, yeah.
Right, but the core hashtags don't change, and they won't change for you, and they won't change for your business.
I think that also, though, brings up a good point, and something that people might not know about Instagram is that you can actually follow hashtags.
You can.
And so that's the reason why these hashtags are working so well for you, right? Is because they may be following hashtag dogs of Instagram.
Right.
And so, but they're also seeing that consistency of your post coming up, and so as they keep seeing it, then they're like, oh, I like that. Oh, I'm going to start following this specific page more. But they found you because they were following this hashtag that you did. So I really think some of it is good for our listeners to go and do some other research. There's a lot of tools out there. Is there one you specifically like to use for hashtag searching?
No, I just, Google allows you to do some of that, so we just use Google. I bet you know some stuff.
Yeah, I've got I'll include it in the show notes. We've got a guide to Instagram that I know we've got a tool in there that will talk about how to search for hashtag. There's a bunch of other ones, how to plan out your posts, how to use some of these filters, that sort of stuff. So we'll get that included, but I think it's called hashtag search, but I'm probably slaughtering what that site is. So we'll put it down below.
Between the two of us, we know. We're supposed to do it.
Because it is important to not just do, this is co-working. Okay, that's really broad, general, whatever, but how do we get a little more specific, or what are people actually looking for? Is it co-working, co-work space, shared space,
it's
that
important
sort of
to do that research, because you can, let's say I typed in doodles of Instagram, right? And when I do, it'll give me options of doodles of Instagram spelled different ways, or a couple different words, and it'll tell me how many people are using it. So if there is a hashtag that has 1,000 people that are using it, or 1 million people that have used it, guess which one I'm going to use?
And so, what you're suggesting is when you're typing in
literally typing in the
Instagram
post,
is going to suggest some as well for you based on the words that you're typing in.
If you happen to have not done the research.
Right. So paying attention to that as well.
Yes.
So that's one way that we can, and that's why I always say Instagram is a great place for businesses to gain exposure and to gain awareness. I don't think it's a place, and I take that back, but I don't think it's a place that you're going to get loads of new business from.
It depends on your business.
You're like maybe selling apparel, or maybe you are selling dog collars and leashes and this, that, and the other, right? Or there's certain industries that it's better for. My service industry, not so much. Restaurants, though, put your food on there. Put your specialty cocktails of the week. Put those types of things on there because
for photographers, I have coaches that use it and do really, really well. Kind of lifestyle bloggers.
So it's finding the niche, which we've talked about before.
Because it's a visual brand,
yes.
So it could help you maybe, because if you had pictures of your projects.
And so that's where we're trying to
or maybe the story,
right? And if we get local businesses that are following us, then they consistently see there's another, post from Tree Ring Digital. Oh, that's a cool business card. Oh, I didn't know they did menu design. Oh, I didn't know they did this. So see, it starts to spark some of that, I didn't know. But because I was following this hashtag or this business page. So it is really helpful to grow your business, but
I think so too.
Knowing that expectation.
Before we go to break, I think the most important thing is that yes, you need to understand hashtags on Instagram, and you need to know what hashtags you're going to use, and check out the show notes for that guide. But I think the next most important thing is consistency. We just need to remember that consistency matters, like any marketing effort. So if you're gonna be on Instagram, be on Instagram. And if you're not, then don't waste your time, or just tell your grandma and don't tell anyone else.
Well,
because it doesn't make sense.
No, it's happened to me. I was following a page for a little bit and they just completely disappeared. And then next thing you know, my entire wall is filled and covered with their
Oh no.
posts. And I'm like, now I'm just going to unfollow you. Because
Yeah,
I don't
right,
want to
that's
see
the
this
thing.
many from you.
Yes.
And so if you do this like shift between not posting to I'm just going to post it all in one day to not posting, I'll just post it all in one day. So that's why I said use something to schedule them out, because that consistency is going to generate more followers over a period of time. And they're going to be more prone to continue following. It's the same like email marketing.
Right.
Don't just bombard them, because the first thing they're going to do is unsubscribe. But if it's one every once in a while, then they're like, that's fine. I'll welcome this distraction until it's too much where I just want to back out and stop following your page.
It's true. Or they put a bad link, which I did yesterday. Sorry. So we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about marketing on Instagram. We're going to talk about
Getting
influencers, getting followers, and why you want to get followers and is it worth it? And also maybe a little bit about advertising. So stay tuned, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Hey everyone, this is Kyle with Outdoor Mindset. We are an outdoor-focused community for people affected by neurological challenges, both diagnosed individuals as well as their supporters. And we believe strongly in the positive power of the outdoors and community, and strive to enhance quality of life through a common passion for the outdoors. We do this through regional outdoor meetup groups, our adventure scholarships, and the connections made within the Outdoor Mindset community. So if you've been diagnosed with a neurological challenge or you know someone who has, we welcome you to join our community at outdoormindset.org and follow along on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I hope to see you all outdoors very soon.
Welcome back. Thank you so much to our sponsors. And we're picking up where we left off with some of the Instagram. I think in the first part here, we're really just more talking about what it is and how to use it. But as you were mentioning at the top of the show, there's so many things that we can do with Instagram now. We've got Instagram stories, we've got optimizing the crap out of your bios, there's advertising on Instagram, there's just so many different things, and it's how do you maximize it all?
Mind-blowing. So, so let's try to take some of those down.
Let's
You're
start
right.
with the stories and
Let's
talk a
start
little
with
bit
the
more
stories.
about, are you been using them with the Golden Doodle stuff?
We
or anything
have.
like that?
We've done with some of it, and I do it with my own page. So I have a page at Pam Parker Foley. And do you have a page too?
I have one more for Tree Ring Digital.
So is it called Tree Ring
Yep.
Digital? So check those out too. But so stories. Stories are super interesting because if you think of an Instagram post, it's kind of a little bit of telling the story of your business. And you're going to have the hashtags, which you're going to bring people who are like you to that so that they pay attention to you, right? And that stays on your Instagram page and people can look at it. And it really, as it starts to build, the scroll of your stories the scroll of your post, starts to tell your story, right? And create an image of who you are and what you do. But stories are different. Stories are an instant snapshot about where you are in that moment. So they only last 24 hours. And it would be great if we in fact, we put on the Racket show story today, a picture of Paige setting up the camera, because people can see behind the scenes and they can see what's happening, but it's happening right now in the moment, and tomorrow won't matter, right? Because it's old news.
So Instagram is good for this stuff, or the photos are really good for stuff that you want to keep around for a while. I know we've got a videographer, video producer, I think she likes to be called, that she does a lot of the same thing you're talking about. Is they're live at a shoot. It's helping her clients get some extra publicity, right? Like, hey, we're working with this person, stay tuned for a video that we're gonna have coming out. And at the same time, it kind of showcases their style and what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so for that though, they might not want that like forever on their Instagram page, but it's really cool to pull people in.
And it's exciting to be in the moment. It's just like being behind the scenes now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We really are doing the longest live I've ever done. And
The first live I've ever done.
So we're really doing this, and it's telling behind the scenes, right? If you were just listening, you wouldn't see me playing with my hair constantly today. And
which is also why we record them, because it just shows a little more of the raw.
yeah.
Like, this is what it is. It's not necessarily the most absolutely polished from start to finish show. It's really just us
But
here.
we're pretty real. and we run our businesses, and that's why we come together to do what we do, because we really want to help people who are running a business, because we know it's hard, and sometimes you play with your hair, sometimes who knows, you can't find your phone.
The other thing though is you're talking about Facebook Live. That's really what I try to relate stories to on Instagram. I think that the stories is Instagram's version of the live. And then let's take one more.
Although you can be, to be clear, you can be live on Instagram and you can do stories on Facebook, both of which are building
They're
quite a
just
bit.
similar.
And don't forget to be live on Instagram, because Instagram's a growing, Facebook's had some problems, let's be real. And so Instagram, also owned by Facebook by the way, has been growing. So get out there, get live, because it helps in the algorithm, both in Facebook and in Instagram. But
Well, and that goes into the reason that when you do Facebook Live, they like to make sure that it's staying at the top, or they'll put that in front of someone's feed the whole time that you're live, even as they're checking in, so that's helpful. Stories on Instagram is doing the same thing. It stays right at the top of Instagram. It doesn't matter how far they're scrolling down. Right at the top, it shows so-and-so has a new story. This business has a new story. This has a new story. And you just flip through them. You're like, all right, cool, let me hit play. And it just starts going through all the stories, everyone's story. They see what they want of yours, and if they're not, all right, go to the next and see that little story clip of yours. So it keeps you front, top, and center.
It does.
Of your
It keeps
audience.
you top in mind. So it just continues to build that brand. And as we talked about offline, building your brand is building your story, staying present, staying consistent, and building your story. Because I want to know the story of you and in your business and
The culture of the team
and
all
both
that.
back. And that's what a story does. And remember that it only stays online for 24 hours, and that it is just a snapshot of what you're doing. If you want to put what you're eating, this is the place to do it. If you want to put your dog running by and doing something funny, this is the place to put it, because people want to know about you.
And people can still engage. You can still leave comments, messages, all of that. So again, it allows that engagement piece. One thing that's a little bit newer is you can highlight stories.
Yes, you can.
And that is going to be something that, if she's saying they go away in 24 hours,
Highlights stay.
Start highlighting them. So now those are staying at the top of your profile. So I've seen companies that put as one story several photos of their team members. So now that's a highlight and story at the top of their Instagram page. What are we doing now? We're maximizing that profile. Now I get to click it and learn more about your team without having to find that story that disappeared or scroll through all your posts.
It's true. And what Paige is talking about is if you go to your Instagram and you actually go to your profile page, and where you see your picture and your little bio, you'll see circles, and those circles you can create, and you can put your highlighted posts, your highlighted stories in there, and those will stay, and you can categorize those. So it can be quotes and team members
Before and
after, and those stay, and people go back and look at those, and that's just another way that people get to know your brand.
I like it because it's finally allowing us to get more information on Instagram. You can put your bio, you can put one link. You can't put links in your posts and stuff. And so it allows, so they can't really get back to certain sections that I might want to be taking them to. I haven't done it as much, but like same thing with that Instagram guide. I could make a story for it and then have something where they can quickly click this highlight and keep seeing this over and over again, as opposed to, I don't know how to find this anymore. So,
and you can put that link in your bio. I mean, you would take up a lot of space, but you could.
Or flip it out.
Or flip it in and out. Yeah.
So.
I do that sometimes. So that really is hashtags and the stories.
What about followers? So
what about followers?
How are you, like, what ways do you suggest gaining more followers, or how did you get to the 3,300? Like you said, it's not necessarily the most impressive Instagram number. At the same time, it's still very, very impressive, A, for your dog, and B, for a business in general. I mean, I think a local business, it's a good number. So let's talk about what kind of the techniques you use to get there.
Okay, and let's start with what not to do. So back in the day, which was like last week, right? So back a couple of years ago, to get Instagram followers, a lot of what people did was they went and they found people that were like them, and they liked them, and then, which means connect with them. And when those people like them back, they unfollowed them.
So they're going out for the, hey,
just
follow
for the
me,
numbers.
and then they're just swiping right out.
Right.
I'm not following that person anymore.
Right. And so just for the numbers, and a lot of people built really big Instagrams doing that. And they continue to do that, but it feels a little inauthentic to do that. It's not that there's any major rule against it. It's really just more of a social faux pas than a real rule,
Well,
you know?
Yeah, and so a couple things with that model is, actually in that Instagram guide, I give you one of those examples where if I do, or not if I do, so I do a lot of rock climbing. And it makes sense though for a brand that offers rock climbing clothes or apparel or whatever to see my personal hashtags that involve climbing and to follow me. One, they may say some cool things, they may not, whatever.
Right.
But two, it now makes me interested in, wait, who's following me? Oh, what's this brand? Oh, let's click the link. Oh, great. And now it gets me going into cycle because I wouldn't have found them otherwise. So there can be some benefits to it, and that's kind of one of the examples that we bring up in there. However, if you're just going after it to boost your number of likes, that's more the, you know, are we talking about like social proof, or are we talking about, are these people you're actually going to be able to market to in the future? Is it helpful? Does it matter that you have that many likes if you're not able to actually get that to turn into conversion, business, income, revenue, whatever?
And so, that brings up a great point. So once you know kind of what not to do, then your next thing is, what is your goal? Why do you want followers on Instagram, right? Is it so that you can market and get people on your email list? Maybe you have a program, maybe you're selling, you know, widgets, stuff like t-shirts. And if you're selling those kind of things, then that's a goal, right? That's why you want people, so that you can create interest and buy your t-shirts, or get people off and going to, say, your email list, right? So that you own those, and that's a whole nother podcast, so stay tuned. But
having
what's your goal?
Products and getting them in front of the right people, or are you trying to look like the expert and having like lots of quotes and motivational things and really building up your personal brand and speaking piece of it? There's so many things, but do followers matter or not matter is kind of the way I look at it. But if you're trying to be an influencer, which is stuff that you've been working with more and more people on,
I have.
Number of followers matters.
Number of followers
and are they
matters,
engaged,
right?
though?
So, but that's their goal, right? So when you decide that you want to be an Instagram influencer, then followers is what you need to get. And the secret there is consistency. It's like we said this before. Consistent, right? Consistency, great use of hashtags, and engagement. So you want engagement, but what you also want is that you need to engage with people out there. So let's say you want to be the next Brene Brown, right? That name just came to head. So thank you, Miss Brown. But so you want to be the next person, right? Then you need to be engaging with Brene Brown. And you need to be engaging with Marie Forleo and all the other people that are in their space, right? And I don't even know all the names, but let's just assume that there are more people in there. And you need to follow their pages. You need to comment on their things. You
Commenting
need to
when people are engaging with you on your profile.
always never have people comment on any of your social media and you don't respond. That's not a good thing. But if you want to stay up in the algorithm and you want to get more followers, you need to follow them and you need to be seen. So you need to be posting.
Being your most authentic, true self, whether that be in your personal brand or whether that be in the business that you're running, and just that. I mean, that was a lot of the reason why people liked Facebook when it first got started, was because they could finally get in touch with business owners. They could finally feel that they were connecting at a more personal level than, here's a website I never see on. And that's a lot of what Instagram has turned into now also, is very much this, let me see, that's where we were talking, like, let me see what the team is doing. Let me see more about this brand, this culture, the fun stuff they're doing, how they're staying involved in the community, and building that authentic self, if you will. And so so comment back, participate, like things that you like.
And the secret sauce is really the stories. So you need to consistently be posting on Instagram using hashtags that more than one hashtag, like hashtag I like my mom was probably not going to do it, but using hashtags in your industry that will result in things coming to your goal, you know, making the goal that you want to make, and so that it attracts the people that are following that hashtag. You need to be posting interesting and well done pictures, right? Maybe not, you can take pictures from your phone. We all take pictures from our
People ask
phone.
all the time. It does not hurt. Like, you don't need to hire a professional photographer for Instagram. Absolutely, use professional photographer for things in your business. However, Instagram is a little bit more of that raw piece, right?
It is.
They do want to see. There's
But
tools out
on
there.
your page, make it a nice photo and have a goal. And if you want to do fun things and tell a story, then go to stories and tell it. And when you are combining all of those things and you're involved with influencers in the area that you want to be an influencer, takes time, doesn't happen in a day, but you can become an influencer too. And at 3,000, Daisy is what's called a micro influencer. So the breaks are really at about 2,500, at about 5,000, at about 10,000, and at about 20,000. And people are interested in you in those degrees. So when you get to those numbers, that's when things start to take off. Once you get to 2,000, it's really not that hard to get to 3,000 and 5,000. But it's hard to get to that first 2,000, and that's where the formula that we just talked about comes into play.
I will say too, as we do more with marketing on Instagram and like Facebook too, and I know we've talked about both, even though we're trying to stay on this topic of Instagram today, but I think people are most familiar with Facebook, so it's easy to kind of relate that Instagram to what they're used to doing in their Facebook side of it. But really, if I'm going to go and market a product that I want someone to buy, you do need to have the social proof of the followers to make sure that people know that if they purchase this product from you, they're going to get the product they ordered, because there's just been so many scams and stuff. And so that's where it's important to, like, if you have 5 followers, you're probably not going to make any sales on marketing. And so it's really good to take a step back and go back to what you talked about. What is the goal? And if the goal is to, like, sell product or anything on it, then let's stop first and let's gain all of the followers that we need to be able to let others know and encourage it. It's kind of like a form of reviews. I know if I'm going to buy something off of Facebook or Instagram, trust me, I've learned my lessons the hard way. I am going to go to their website. I'm going to go and check and make sure, like, do they have any reviews? If I Google their name, is there negative stuff coming up?
Do they exist?
What are people saying in the comments? Are you know, is there a lot of comments? Obviously, most of our listeners are going to be doing genuine, authentic sales, and so they're going to see the good comments. However, you need to be doing everything on your side as a business owner and as you're setting up that plan to remove any part of that doubt. And even being a small local business, it might still be am I still going to get this, you know, or like, hey, if I order this online, is it going to take 7 weeks or a week to get? I want to know these things. And so being able to, like, remove the doubt and put as much trust in there as you can, a lot of that comes from having the followers, and then also just building up your online review piece.
And also, with getting more followers, when you become an influencer, then we can start talking about influencer marketing. So influencer marketing really is twofold, right? It's if you are an influencer and bringing products and businesses into your space so that they want you to sell their stuff. Sorry, can't talk and look at myself at the same time. And then on the other side, if you're developing and you've started to get more people, then you can start selling yourself to other influencers, and you sort of become an affiliate, sort of. It's kind of the same idea, but that's another episode.
Yeah, and you're talking that there's 2 different ways that influencers really play a role, and small businesses use it. Someone like your dog site is a perfect place for a small person or a small shop that's making handmade dog collars to reach out to you and say, hey,
and they have,
can I give you a couple? Will you take some photos with your dog? And do you mind just giving us a quick shout out? I'm not necessarily going to pay you money to do it. At the same time, I'm not going to ask you to pay me for the collar. And so it's a really cool way for you to reach into other people's networks, if you will, and be able to utilize and keep those marketing dollars low as a small business. Those are the things we like to talk about, right? How do we keep your marketing budget low while you're growing until we can actually afford a full-on, super heavy, strong marketing budget. So that's one way, and then the other way is there's also, once you hit past, I remember you just listed off the phases, and I already forgot what the levels are, but once you hit a certain level, if you're going the other way, you can actually make really good money, but that doesn't happen overnight.
It doesn't happen quickly, but I think that example that Paige gave is a perfect example of how you in a small business and as an entrepreneur, even a solopreneur, can use Instagram and really be an influencer in your area. So Daisy the Doodle, right? She's a micro influencer in the doodle world. And so people do ask if she'll wear their collars, and you take pictures with it, and then that begins to expand. And that's how people say, how do you make money on Instagram? That's how you make money on Instagram. Or you get clients because people know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So as a small business owner, really focusing on your value to other entrepreneurs, it's kind of like the concept of power partnering, right? That the collar maker wants Daisy to wear it so that those 3,000 people can see Daisy wearing the collar.
And now is a place that you might actually get sales, right? Like
Right.
we're talking about when
Right,
you can
exactly.
and can't. And so if
It's
you
a
get in
win-win.
front of the right people, now people might be like, oh, that's a cool collar. Where can I get? I didn't know you could get that kind of collar.
Yes.
So you can piggyback off of other people's networks. It's the same thing as if you're sharing, not necessarily sharing email lists, but if you're like, hey, I mean, you and I kind of do a little bit of that in terms of, I don't know some of the people that might be tuning in right now, but at least now it's getting in front of another network. And so, and that's just a raw live version of ways that some of that work. And, you know, it allows us to increase our brand, and maybe we get something from it, maybe we don't. That's not so much our goal, but in the Instagram world, tap into the networks and utilize what they have, because if you don't have that many followers, then you gotta be going after people that do.
Yes, and then once you do get followers, that's when you can start to explore having influencers, really selling them on the why they would want to be involved on your website, because then they're really opening up to you their followers. In some cases, these people have millions of followers, and so you really have to be valuable to them. And it's hard to get that many followers and get that level, but
some are getting lots of stuff thrown at them, so they have to start picking and choosing. So, and we've got plans to do an episode just fully on influencer marketing.
yes, we do, because that's a whole nother episode. We've got like 4 other episodes that we
There's not a lack of ideas, that's for sure.
It's not easy to be an entrepreneur, and there's a lot to learn. So we've already done Facebook, and we have done now Instagram.
We did some on networking as well, which is so much social, but it's that marketing piece we were talking about. And then we also just kind of recapped a few of the different platforms before.
We did, and I think that we're going to do another episode where you're going to learn about Pinterest and marketing on Pinterest, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about, you know, kind of even more into like the Snapchats of the world, and answer any questions you guys have about Facebook and Instagram, because we have both had a lot of experience in those, and LinkedIn too. LinkedIn is huge and growing. Yes.
I think real quick before we wrap up this episode, the one thing we haven't touched much on would be actually marketing on Instagram. Does it make sense? Is it a good place for you? A lot of people don't realize, they're like, oh, I want to market on Instagram. You have to get into the Facebook platform to do so. For the most part, I think there's maybe the small boost options that you can do real quickly on Instagram. I wouldn't recommend them. It's just like setting up AdWords Express or setting you up to take their money, not getting in front of the right target audience.
We'll talk about AdWords later.
Yes. But diving into, so getting into the Facebook side of the marketing platform is what you want to do and get started there. And then from there, should you be on Facebook or marketing or Instagram for marketing? And again, I think it really just depends on your goals and who your target audience is. But it's also a little bit of a lower entry point marketing effort to get into. And so those are some areas that it can be really helpful. So being really mindful and working either with a coach, a strategist, a marketing team, company, whatever, and finding out, is your target audience on Instagram?
Yeah, you need to know where your people are.
Where are they? And I think Instagram can be good. I usually recommend it go more for like awareness or
right now that's a lot what it is, but I think we should do a whole nother episode on advertising, right? Because yes, you can advertise on lots of different places. You can advertise on Facebook, which is probably the big one that everybody thinks about, but it can get expensive quickly if you don't know how to create your correct target audience, if you don't know how to create a headline that's going to attract people, and how to spend your dollars wisely. So that's something that both of us have done. That's something that you guys do professionally. And it's something that we should talk about, because I think that a lot of entrepreneurs
I don't think they realize
confused by
how many
that.
places. I mean, you can advertise on Etsy, you can advertise on Amazon, you can advertise on Pinterest, you can advertise Instagram and Facebook. And how do you know where to choose? So
How do you know where
that
to
might be a
choose?
really
Yeah.
good sooner than later episode, because
I think so
a lot of
too.
clients don't realize that you can market on Amazon and sometimes get more sales and more revenue that way than some of the other platforms out there. So
Yeah, and we'll talk to you about the experiences that we've had and where things have gone better and worse. I know that I started out doing Facebook ads and it wasn't awesome, right? But I haven't done Instagram ads for my business because I'm not really in the kind of business that you would. But that said, I get a lot of traction from Instagram, and you might too. The question is, what's your goal and where are your people? Because if your people aren't there, don't bother. Because we both have experience in marketing, we know that it's important to get on all of these different platforms, and we both understand where our people for our businesses are, and we're figuring out where our people for podcasting
time
are.
and money, where
Time
they best
and money.
spent.
So that's my marketing tip for the day. Do you have a marketing tip before we get going?
Time and money, use it wisely.
Ooh, good tip.
That's it for today. Thanks for joining us. We'd love to hear from you. Check us out at theracketshow.com to submit suggestions for topics or guests that you would like to hear.
And of course, don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time.